Fantastic. Welcome to I Think. John Everett Martin makes his fourth appearance on the I Think podcast. This is a massive moment in history and in podcasting history and also internet culture history in general. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, John, to stop by the studio for this podcast. And by studio, I mean the library where we've been filming the podcast. Fantastic. So what's on your mind lately, John? You've been making a lot of moves with music. I think it was just 2 days ago you performed at a festival.
Yeah, well, first let me say thank you for having me back.
Of course.
A little bit of me goes a very, very long way, so I'm always impressed when people bring you back. And
yes.
And I've said so many times to my contemporaries, find some young friends. If I had only old friends, I'd be complaining about my backache and how many times I got to get up to pee in the middle of the night. But when you hang with young people, you stay young. You talk about things, and so I've learned so much from you, and I've benefited only by being here. So thank you to you all, and thank you to Ben for caring.
John,
listen to what I say.
I really do appreciate that. I'm a huge fan of John Everett Martin in general.
Push it. There you go.
Let me just let Aidan in here.
There you go.
Guys, we are introducing a new guest to the podcast. This is his actually third time coming on the pod. The first one never got released. His name is Aidan. Aidan,
thank you.
Give us a little background. You're here at the library. You're with John. You're with me. We're sitting down like men to have a conversation about life and everything that's going on, our ambitions, our philosophies. What's on your mind today? What's life been looking like for you lately? I noticed you blew up in this video, over 550,000 views. It was your friend who posted that, but you were sort of the highlight. What's that like? How do you feel this week? It's crazy, isn't it?
Like I already said, bro, that was not me at all. That was completely him. So.
But you were the highlight of the video. It was focusing on
you. Were the light bulb.
I don't think so.
And the lamp.
You had a good screen time, maybe like 5 seconds of it was focused on you.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really think it was about. I guess I was in it. Like I recorded some videos, but. I'm just kind of trying to build my own thing. So,
I know.
It helped him a lot. But.
That's interesting, but they call it, there's a thing called stage presence, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Stage presence. And when you understand that, all of us have it.
Yes.
All of us have it. And you'll test it by being on a group of a much larger stage with people, but I'm sure that we've all been on stage. We've gone to bands, seen music.
Of course.
And even though the lead singer's singing, you can't take your eyes off the drummer. Mm-hmm. Because it's the drummer who's got the energy.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with you. You could be sitting in a room and you could be on a podcast, but you can see your light.
No.
Like I said, I could put both of you at the end of my sofa and I could read my newspaper by you guys if it blacked out. If there was a blackout, I'd just invite you guys over, have you stand at each end of my sofa, and I would read my newspaper.
Oh my gosh, you're too humble though,
I was
honestly.
telling you need to be a comedian, dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you something. I never thought of myself as a funny person or a comedian, although I think as you live life over a period of time, you find out that, I was saying there's a good friend of mine who had a grandmother who had dementia.
Yeah.
And we were in the living room, and she walked into the kitchen. My friend's grandmother walked in the kitchen into the pantry, and she was so completely upset because she had nothing to wear in her closet. But she was in the kitchen pantry.
Yeah.
So she didn't realize it, you know what I mean? So you just kind of realize that, you get older, you'll learn. And her daughter came out and said, if you don't laugh, John, you'll cry. And that's what I think becomes funny in life. You know what I mean? Is that if I don't find things funny, you're going to cry the rest of your life because everybody's so...
100%. What is there about life other than to laugh, to have fun, and to pursue your dreams and ambitions ultimately? I think that taking life too seriously is a huge detriment to society, and it's become really popular in recent years. It seems like the ancient people, when you look back in time, were really spending time, getting to know life, embracing psychedelic ritual and joy. And now we're sort of taking things incredibly seriously. And it creates a lot of pain depression, anxiety, etc. You know, all of these modern issues. I think, Aidan, you've talked a lot about your philosophy in terms of you believe that the, you know, sort of hyper-industrialization of society has, you know, introduced a lot of mental issues that we wouldn't have had if we were staying true to our primal lifestyles.
Yeah. I mean, you put it well. I feel like we're hyper-industrialized and also like hyper-individualized and like afraid to express ourselves in so many ways. Like, even at my school, just going up and saying hi to a person, you can get like a weird look when I'm just like trying to meet a new person, trying to make a new friend. Or this is like stepping it up a level, but I'm like dancing on the train and stuff, and people just look at me like a weird person.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that like a lot of people aren't doing that, but like I'm just trying to like be joyous and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't really give a crap what like anyone else thinks.
I love that.
To be honest, but like no one else is doing it.
Right.
Yes.
And that's why I'm like,
Well, you're also dancing.
Yeah.
It's not like you're out there yelling at everybody and telling them that they're all idiots and the world's going to end. I mean, no one should be upset. You know, like I used to say, I've got a really good friend who hugs, and he will love you, and he won't let you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people get upset by it. But I call him Riptide.
Yeah.
Because I say,
pulls you in.
he'll pull you in. I say, but if you're stressed, you're going to die.
Yeah.
I said, just let him love you.
Yeah.
Let him love you. And then gradually, you'll live. He'll let you go, and you can swim away. But when you fight it, and I said, and you're fighting so hard to... Now, if he was coming at you to control you, to abuse you, that would be one thing, but you're just being hugged and loved.
Yeah.
So what is your problem?
John.
I get it. The limit, I get it.
What's your opinion on men who are afraid to hug their homies?
I think it's weird, to be completely honest with you. Although, I absolutely believe respect is very important.
Of course.
You know? And I also believe that a boundary is crossed when you touch somebody.
That's the big one.
I don't think that you're allowed to touch anybody if they're not comfortably touched.
Yes.
I do feel sorry for them, though, because I'll tell you something. I'm an embracer. I'm not a hug.
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger. When I hug you, I'm going to hold you.
Okay.
I had a good friend of mine who passed away a number of years ago. His name was James McCarthy. And I created the James McCarthy rule.
I'm sorry,
life.
I just took a sip of your coffee.
Oh, well, you're welcome. You didn't thought it was going to be
It's
water.
really
what
good.
the hell?
No,
What surprised you most?
I have my
or the
coffee
sugar?
right here, and I took a sip of John's coffee.
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
I'm
John.
nervous.
I embrace bacteria.
I'm nervous.
It keeps me immune to everybody in the room.
Potentially.
Exactly.
But it's very sweet. It has. What did you get in it? It's
Just
very
milk
nice.
and sugar.
I like it. Very
And I let
subtle.
them decide how much sugar it would be. So
Awesome.
It's probably not nearly as enough for mine.
I'll take a sip.
No, it's just water.
But all right. But I will say that, you know, so anyhow, with James McCarthy, I said that what I do now is, again, I don't want to make him uncomfortable. But if I'm going to hug either one of you, probably not now, but if I was not going to see you for a while, my James McCarthy rule is an extra 2 seconds to every hug. And the 2 seconds starts when the person I'm hugging starts to pull away. And then what that is I go for 2 more seconds, and I only, for those 2 seconds, focus on having them in my arms. Because a joyous love, you can give me a love that lives in my heart. And even though you're not around, I can still feel you because you've given me love to hold on to as my own. But I may not always be able to hug your body. I may not be able to hug your neck, as they say. And so for those 2 seconds, I just focus on, so I can remember hugging my mother. I can remember holding my father. I can remember holding everyone I love, you know? And I will tell you, really, I don't want to give anybody any discredit in my life, but I did have a really crazy experience as a bartender, maybe about a year or two before it ended, where right before we were about to close, he was the only guy in the bar, so I was done last call, and it's like 12:25, and this one guy walks in and says, "Hey, John, how you doing?" I'm going, "Oh, hey," not really recognizing who he is, but he seems to recognize me. "How you been?" Good. "Well, I was just in Boston really quickly and decided I want to come in and see you and get a beer, but I can't stay. So come on around here and give me a hug." So I went around and gave him a hug, and I will tell you that was the single best hug I've ever had in my whole life.
Wow.
Nice.
Why?
And it was because I felt like I was held. I actually wasn't hugged, I was actually held. And I think what is that? Like, there's a line that I like to use. I want to write a country song about, I think that every man needs to be the little spoon every once in a while. And I will tell you that in my lifetime, I've never been the little spoon. And I don't know if I want to be or need to be or whatever. But I don't mean it in any other way but to have somebody come from behind you and say, "I've got you. You know,
Yeah, right.
no, I just mean like when someone comes up and
No, I know what
they
you
don't
mean.
see
Yeah,
you coming,
yeah.
and they come and they say, "I know you're having a tough day.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I've got you." And
Yes.
I get it all, because again, it would be terrifying with the wrong person to come up and say that.
Yeah.
But when you do have somebody, you know, it's also hard to probably be a big little spoon when you're 6'2".
Is that you?
How tall
Yeah.
are you?
6'2.5".
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shortest one.
I think I'm
How tall are you?
6'1.5".
Good for us.
Nice. Very
Good
nice.
for us.
John, I really wanted to ask you, you know, obviously only answer this if you feel comfortable.
course.
Do you feel comfortable talking about how you lost your virginity? How old were you?
Well, I would tell you that I probably won't talk too much about it.
Okay.
Just because on both cases, they were not good.
Okay.
So I will just say that. But I will say this to go with that
Sorry.
is because I do at some point want to get into this conversation, because I think it's a problem between men and women in many situations, where I don't want to, you know, again, I haven't talked to the younger generations like you guys in a while, so I don't really know. But I will tell you this, is that if a man maybe in the locker room said he lost his virginity at 15 to a 22-year-old girl, he'd be bragging about that.
Yeah.
And then his friend is going to try and beat him and say, well, I lost mine at 14 to a 30-year-old.
Yeah, and then it's like, what the fuck?
And now it's like,
Yeah.
because we're calling it a good time, we're not calling it what it is, which is abuse. And
That's
so what I will
interesting.
tell you is that I thought I was old enough,
Okay.
but I wasn't mature enough. So what I wanted was good, but when I didn't want to do it anymore,
Yeah.
I didn't know how to handle it as an adult.
And she kept wanting to. And how was it a big age gap?
It was, well, for me, it was in a position of authority.
Okay.
And it was a position of being locked in a door and saying I wasn't going to leave until it was going to get done,
Oh, okay.
you know. And it just messed me up for a while, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the same thing happened with a dude, I will tell you, where someone did that same thing. So on both sides, it could have been great, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
what
that's
I
horrible,
say,
John.
so what I say though, is that I don't care, guys, if you've had a good time. I don't care if you
Yeah.
didn't think it was abusive. But if we're ever going to start being taken seriously as men, we have to at least understand that it wasn't right. And that there are consequences by you not thinking that it was right or that it wasn't wrong. Because what we are suffering from, we take out. This is what I would ask young guys in this audience right now, and you guys. I'll ask you guys. I know that all young boys love their moms. You know what I mean? Their moms love boys so much. But I think when you get to puberty and you get into sports and you get into team sports in schools, something happens where you no longer crave sensitivity from a female like you would from your mother. You don't crave support like you would from your mom, from your girl,
Because you're too competitive with the other men.
with the other guys.
That's an interesting
You
thought.
know, so it's like you skip this whole thing about caring, and now you only go from loving your mother to objectifying all women from then on. Because if you love the girl because she is wonderful, your friends may say, well, she's overweight.
Yeah.
Or she's not this.
Yeah.
Or she's not that. And then you won't even defend that.
That's a pretty shitty friend to tell you your girl's overweight.
No, but I'm just saying.
No, he's trying to keep it healthy, bro.
Yeah.
I am. You know what but I'm just saying that. Believe me, I sat in a bar too long.
Yeah.
When a young girl who wasn't at all overweight, the things that the 5 adult men would say, and you just want to go,
No, I know. Like,
stop it, dude. You know what I mean?
Seriously.
Because you know all
Yeah.
of you aren't really like that. You're home
Yeah.
playing solitaire,
Yeah,
and
that's
you're
a big
playing
thing.
it. So but
Y'all are not like that.
But my question is, though, is I think it happens. You know, they say that women. But my only point is that I really think that if we start being, I really think, in my opinion, and you guys tell me this or whatever, but I think really the only thing that guys really, really do bad. I don't think guys are bad, but what guys do wrong is they lie, and they lie even when
I think we all lie, women, men.
Well, then again, I can't speak for women because I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
But I can speak.
But you think we're that different? like where it would be different for?
No, I don't think we're more different at all. I don't think we're different at all, but I don't know women well enough to know what motivates them, why they do the things they do. I think I have a bigger piece of information as to why guys do it.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? Believe me, I've learned so much, because when you lose your family, when you lose everything, and I'm not crying here, I'm just saying, when
you've been through a lot.
You just have, see, this
I'm
is
hold you. No, I'm not just gonna pat you on.
No!
I'm gonna hold you.
Oh, man.
I feel the difference. Joe.
Dude. This guy is something.
You gotta try it.
This guy is something here.
Ben, you gotta
He's
try
not
it.
the same guy as you. No.
But we respect our differences.
We'll go from there.
Okay.
And
Ben, you gotta try it.
He taught this guy. Your parents, right? You got parents.
Yeah.
Because I never like to say, because not everybody is raised by parents. You know what I mean?
I was raised by like a lot of different things, you know.
Well, let me tell you, to raise a kind, supportive, affectionate, caring man, it's the best thing
like Ben.
No, Ben is, but I'll be honest with you. See, and that's respecting people's space. Because we may want to, because we know that it's better, but it won't be good if it's not good. So we have to wait for the time for when it is good. Because otherwise we'll just be another one that wasn't good.
you guys have to just wait around me until you feel the time is right to make a move, and then
No, I will wait for you to make the move.
I genuinely felt held in that moment.
Oh, I could
No,
go on.
I respect that.
I
Because
feel
you're a
like
great
I didn't
guy.
hold you. I felt like I was.
No, you did.
upset.
No, you came toward me.
Yeah.
You came toward me with something that I had said. I wasn't even anticipating the hug that you came towards me. And then I
You
was
don't
so
like
grateful.
hugs.
I love hugs.
I thought you like holds.
I do like holds. But there's a difference. But that's what I'm saying. What I get from you, it's like my sister said to me the other day, John, nobody says such nice things to me like you do. The words that you use when you talk to me are always so beautiful. And it's like she's trying to give me credit, but I go, but Maureen, you inspire the words. I don't come up with these words just to please you.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. I can talk to you and I can talk to you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just telling you the way that it is. And for you to be such a young man that is, you're a light. You know, this happens every single episode, I think.
No worries.
And no one ever calls me.
It's Jake.
If it's important, you could take it.
It would never be important.
Or whatever, even if it's not.
No, believe me, it's not more important than the conversation I'm having here.
I wanted to ask Aidan, you know, we've been on the topic of love, you know, whether it be platonic love or romantic love, you know, friendship or a partner. You are currently single, obviously, Aidan. You've been kind of... No, not obviously.
Not obviously.
Not obviously. I've been in the habit of saying obviously a lot on the
Look
pod,
at that
but
face.
I say it in the way because I know, so it's not like new information.
Yeah.
But you are putting yourself out there. You've been going on a lot of dates recently. I think you have a date tonight.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
I've been going well with one girl, but yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You've been seeing this one girl sort of and been out in the dating world. A lot of people who are dating right now, putting themselves out there, they feel a lot of pessimism, I think, in our culture, especially in our younger generation. You know, a lot of people have given up on love, but you are fearless and you're always open to love and finding that and, you know, being just a great companion to the eventual woman who you will be with. What is your idea about that?
Well, I feel like, first of all, like, the world would be a better place, obviously, if everyone loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I also like to say, I don't want to say, like, I don't even know what this expression means, but I feel like when you say wear your heart on your sleeve, you're kind of, like, open with your heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, I feel like I'm kind of like that, but a lot of times, like, I have friends that I like, love so much, and, like, you know, we've witnessed, like, friends, like, even, like, die together. Like, I had this one friend that I grew up with that, like, died, and we were in, like, a friend group of, like, the four of us. And even, like, when I tell, like, this other guy, like, yo, I love you, and he doesn't say back, it kind of just hurts so much, because it's like, you know, you're just, like, you're not, like, feeling like you can say that, because I don't know what it is, like, about men. I mean... I think, sorry to cut you off, I think it's really complicated, like, our idea of love, and I talked to John about this. We don't have a clear definition for what love is. Mm-hmm. So I honestly understand the perspective of your friend, because to a lot of people, love is like this very romantic thing, you know, that we talk about, and you might not feel comfortable saying it to
a friend or someone or even anyone sometimes, even your own family, a lot of people are not comfortable enough to say it to them. So I get that, but I also get that I think we should have more definitions for different kinds of love so that you can tell your friend, I love you without the thought of like romance entering their mind.
Yeah. Or like men being like,
well,
that's gay or something.
Absolutely, because that's what it's all been about. That's why
they don't say it back.
Well, again.
Well, if it means the same thing as like sexual love, then it would be kind of gay.
Yeah, but it does not though.
But no, because again, because I find this all very, very frustrating, to be completely honest with you.
It's kind of like, can I say one thing?
Yes, of course you can.
It's kind of like my brother has autism, but in like such a different way than my other friend that has autism has it, and they're just both like grouped as like having Asperger's, whereas like my brother's struggles have just been like so different from like this other guy's who's been, but it's just like as humans we're just like boom autism, boom love, or whatever.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with all labels. Though,
I love that
because I don't really like being an LGBTQ or what any else. You know what I mean? Because what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why don't I just allow me to be me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because like I've said, when anybody asks me that question, I'd say, you can call me queer if you want. But I think everyone is queer. So it makes me normal. And I just saw the statistic the other day that when you look at the latest generation, where it was 1 out of 10, it's now 5 out of 10 that don't call themselves straight.
I think a lot of that is young women in college.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that comes from young women in college today.
What comes from young women in college?
Like the reason why it's 5 out of 10 now, because it's become extremely popular to experiment, particularly with women.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I think it's understood more with women. It's not accepted as much with men.
Well,
but it's going on.
It's much more accepted, obviously, and understood than when men experiment with men. But I talk to girls in college these days, and I think I would estimate maybe 1 of every 2 considers themselves to be somewhere on that spectrum.
Yeah.
So I've seen those statistics, but you're right in the sense that putting labels is very difficult. It's something I wanted to ask you about, John, because obviously you reject labels. You don't want to be put in LGBTQ. You said yourself, let me try to quote you exactly. You said, people want to call me straight, people want to call me gay. What was the thing you said? It was such a great line. But
I just said, when I find out.
When I find out, I'll let you know. And like, I think that's great.
And then I said, I don't know why it's the fuck of your business. I think I said something like that.
What? Yes, yeah, and people love that, by the way.
Well, it's just, it's really not.
I get that. Let me ask you.
I don't mind talking about it, but.
What about pansexual? Would you consider yourself to be pan? Because that is a term people have started adopting to refer to being open to anything.
I would call myself pansexual if that's what that means. However.
You don't like the label.
I still don't like the label.
Yeah, because then it's just like, oh, he's not straight, you know what I mean?
Well, or it means that I'm not bi, and I'm not that, and I'm not that, and I'm not this, so I'm that. And it's like, I don't need to be part of a group, because I'll tell you something. I could give you an example of something here, and I'm going to maybe go too far.
No, go further than that, please.
I don't know. But I would tell you, I'll start with it a little bit this broadly. So I was asked to be a best man at a wedding.
Yeah.
And when I suggested the bachelor party, I said, you understand that times are not the same as they used to be, right? But I want to give you a bachelor party, okay? But we're not like we used to be. So I want to give you some options. And I said, number 1, there could be no bachelor party. We could maybe get a naked bartender and have it something at the hotel if we want. We could get a stripper. We could go out to a strip club if that's what we want to do. Or we could get, because guys and everything are different, we could get a couple. So then, like, we could see the guy and the girl. You know what I mean? And then the guys that were gay would have a good time, and then the guys that like the girl would have a good time. And my friend said, wow, I mean, that's kind of interesting. I mean, how would you do that? Would you hire a couple of... I said, no, I just find a couple that would like to perform in front of a group of people. So when I went to go find that couple, right, I was surprised to find there's a lot of couples. And then what I was surprised, though, was, I will just say that what absolutely sealed the deal for me was that it is an open mind that turns me on more than anything at all.
Yeah.
Than anything at all. It just blew my mind, because the girl was a guy, and it was like, wow. But it was, at no point was that couple ever in question. They were a couple. But I think they, as a couple, understand sexuality is different from love. And I think that so many people want to call your sexuality love, or they want to call your love sexuality. But for me, like I've often said, there's another line that I'd like to put into a country song, which is, I can have sex anytime I want, but I won't be making love anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And at this point in my life, I really wouldn't mind making love. Mm-hmm. And that is because when you can get touched with affection more than lust, it's different. And then when we want to talk about love and the different types of love that we have, I think there's really two types of love, really. The one that you don't mind sharing and one that you don't want to share. Mm-hmm. And the love that you don't want to share is the love that you guys care for each other. You know, you can both say, I want to love everybody, but you're not okay necessarily for her loving everybody. And you may not be okay with her loving everybody because it's a different type of love that doesn't like to share. So all I think is that you've got to be clear with the person that you're in that love situation with, because it's not the same as everyone else.
Yes. We focus on communication.
So again, if you don't feel comfortable with me saying, but as friends, brothers, relationships, I like to do this. I'll give you the example of this one. I had a young friend, and I think I said something like, a day without you is like a day without sunshine. And
was it the 19-year-old man?
Yeah. And he sent back a comment that said, John, that's like really queer. I mean, that's something I'd say to my girlfriend. I don't need it to be said to you by you. So I responded with, I apologize for making you feel uncomfortable. I do not apologize for the sentiment. I'm allowed to feel how I feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that it made you uncomfortable, and I will remember that in the future.
Yeah, I like that.
But if I'm allowed to tell you that I love you, don't expect it to come back, because you don't want it to come back nonchalantly. Mm-hmm. You want it to be said truthfully. And I know with my ex-wife, I hurt her first by saying I loved her. And then I found out that I didn't know what love is.
100%.
So I had to take it back. And when I took it back, I said, I won't say I love you again until I do. And then I told everyone else I loved them, but I never told her. And she would get so upset, but I said, but see, it's a different love I'm talking about with you. I wouldn't say that to them.
Yeah, never.
But I could say it to you. So what do you want me to do? You want to wait for the real love, or do you want me to just say, because I'm saying it to everybody else? Mm-hmm. I know it's uncomfortable, but I don't love them like I love you.
Yeah.
I love that. And so, John, I asked Aidan this. I tend to ask my guests this, but I asked you the first time you came on the podcast on the topic of sexuality, love, all of these things. You've obviously talked about like the swinger lifestyle and everything along those lines. Have you participated in an orgy or group sex of some kind, or would you be open to that?
I would say this. When I was 43 years old, my wife threw me out.
Yeah.
I was married for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would say that when I was 43, I saw a new world coming. And I knew that if I waited the 20 years for the new world to be here, I'd be too old to take part in it.
Yes.
So after age 43, I participated in just about everything I ever wanted to do sexually. And I will tell you, I'm happy to tell you that I had a really good time at every one of them.
How many years did that phase last?
10 years, pretty much.
10
43
years
to 53.
And what do you think was like the craziest single event? Would you talk about it?
I would say the orgies are probably the craziest thing to ever witness.
Like, what's the most
I would
amount
say,
of people?
I would say, probably about 100 people. Maybe.
What the?
That's crazy.
People. Yeah.
Wow.
But I'll tell you something, what's fun about it, though. What's fun about it is, again...
How is it 100 people?
I'll tell you how it's 100 people. There's a woman in Maine who needs to pay her mortgage. She's an older woman who does not participate in any of it. But she puts on a shindig and makes a buffet and charges everybody a certain amount of money to go there. And it only happens once a month. Mm-hmm. So if everyone is centrally located in Maine and you want to go to the same orgy once a month, everyone will go into Maine to this one orgy.
We're going to need that contact.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And
100 people.
But, I really think I did it because I was single.
Yeah.
I did it as a single man.
Of course.
I tell with everybody, if you are single, I'll tell you, while you're single, work on you. Just work on you. Don't spend too much of your time not doing anything looking for somebody else. So if there's something you want to learn, something you got to fix, Because again, if you've got a problem, if you've got an issue, it's going to be a lot easier to fix without having to worry about his opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to talk about respond to that. I think that when I was single for a long time, I think it's easy, especially as a single guy, to spend a huge amount of your time and energy worried about, getting women, doing this or whatever. It's like pretty much occupied like half of my thoughts, I would say, to be
I don't
conservative.
know if it goes away.
But when I got locked down with the right woman,
Right.
It allowed me to have all of that energy I was putting into jerking off, into thinking of meeting women, of doing this or that.
Right.
It created this animal energy that just allows me to focus my whole day practically, on getting shit done. Like it gives me this power. Like I would say to all single guys out there, think about the amount of energy and drive and ambition and motivation you would have if you went even 1 week without jerking off. Just think about it.
Well, I would just offer that, because I have thought about it. And I would encourage everyone to think about it. No, but I would just say this, is that I would tell more men to jerk off before they go on their first date. Because they could
Why?
actually maybe talk to the girl instead of spend most of the time fantasizing about the
That's
conversation.
interesting.
So if you just get yourself off and then talk.
But something about that sexual dynamic and tension on the first date, I think, is pretty important as well.
Do you remember anything she said on the first date?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I remember the first date with my girlfriend like it was yesterday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But again, and I think it's wonderful. But the one thing I tell both of all young couples,
Of course.
the reason why you found each other was because you're dynamic and you like being dynamic and you were both dynamic. But when you become a relationship, there's such a dangerous thing in making the relationship this third body.
What do you mean by that?
It means that it's like it's me and then it's my girlfriend and then now we're a relationship because you have an individual person. You have an
Okay,
individual person.
I
Together
love
you're a
this.
relationship. However, the relationship's an infant. So just remain being independent and hang together.
Yes. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think that is how I thrive in my relationship, we're not making compromises for one another. It's more like we're both living our own life,
Good.
chasing our own goals. I think
That can change later
it could.
when you have kids or if you have family, get
Yeah.
married. But when you're young and in your 20s,
Yes. Don't make
don't make
compromises.
the relationship your priority.
Yeah, and don't force your partner to make compromises for you. Because if you want the relationship to be healthy, there needs to be that layer of respect, of course.
I'll tell you, I'm happy
It's
to say
something
that
I
for
learned.
whatever it's worth. I mean, like I've told you before, I'm the hashtag Team Youth. I'm Team Youth. You guys, the younger generation, I love very, very much.
Yes.
I'm really impressed by you all.
And we love your generation.
Yeah.
I love your generation.
Well, my generation's got a lot. I don't like my generation as much as maybe you do.
I don't really love our generation too much though.
Right.
Because
Well,
I
now
don't
that's
know.
an interesting
What's the
conversation.
most
So,
toxic thing you see about our generation?
Yeah.
I just feel like this could have been how it always was, but I feel like people are like, as a general statement, people are like super driven towards like money and like such superficial things. And if I was to go on like a date with a girl, like the girl I like, really like right now, like my friends are like, yo, show me her Instagram. And it's like,
What?
It's not representative
That's
of all.
crazy.
Like,
So disrespectful.
it's so disrespectful.
But you know what's nice about that though, is that
Like that's what you care about.
but truthfully, like I said, when you look at now the bigger picture, and maybe this is where we can help each other, is that you just realize that those comments right there, you don't need to worry about them, change them, even get upset about
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
But you
Of
must
course.
identify what they're saying kind of makes them look like idiots,
Yes.
and that you might be hanging with idiots.
Yeah, you don't want to surround yourself with idiots.
Idiots,
Like
no.
they always
That's it.
say.
Oh really? All right.
Yeah. What a riot! You got a sense of humor.
Surround yourself with $100 bills and you'll become $100 bill. Surround yourself with pennies and you'll become a penny. That's just how
I
life
think a
works.
Russian statement, bro.
A Russian statement.
I don't know. You said it like a Russian accent.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's sort of a Russian way of talking when I'm trying to express.
Yes.
Yes, very interesting. But what I would say to that, regardless, it's sort of the. I sort of think that regardless of everything you've mentioned up to this point, there's a bit of me which is particularly concerned with the trends our generation is currently pursuing, apart from those sorts of things, I do remain optimistic above everything else, because I really do believe there is a lot of hope in our society and for the future, and I'm just completely optimistic.
Where do you see that hope?
So the sort of hope.
Yeah, where? No,
So
no, not trying to be
it's
pessimist.
all
Right.
around us. So John, what I would ask you when you ask me that question, why do I have this eternal optimism? We simply have no clue as to the nature of our existence, as you would agree. It is a complete mystery.
Well, some think that they have some clue.
Some imagine that they do, but I would posit that none of us have the faintest idea where we have originated from,
Okay, yeah.
including myself. I have simply no clue. And so I would say everything sort of combined, once you sort of look at the bigger picture of things, we're doing remarkably well. That we're even alive up to this point. You've survived
No, I agree
40
with you on
years
that.
longer than I have on this earth, this
Yeah.
tragically faint and fragile dot in a vast expanse of utterly outer space. It's sort of completely preposterous.
Right.
And we've survived despite all of that. How random is
And
it?
why do you think that is?
I think that there's something we don't see, and I think there's something looking out for us that
Well,
has our better interest in
right,
mind.
of course.
Right.
And I really do believe, regardless of what you want to call it, Jesus,
So
Buddha,
I hate to keep
Muhammad,
interrupting you, but you inspire me to think, and I would say that so if you think like if none of us knows where we've come from or where we're going, don't you think that we've come from love, and to stick around we got to keep in love?
So honestly, John, I don't know, and I can't say I do know. But here's my
I think with love you're safe,
here's my diagram.
right?
I don't know.
I wanna-
I don't know
Love
what,
yourself.
in what context though.
I
Like,
wanna-
by loving people, then like it makes you more.
So I think
Yes.
so. But what I would say
better to love than to hate.
Here's my diagram. Given what we know, like when you try to solve any mystery, you look at what you know. What we know, I think it's nothing. We don't know why we exist, why life, what the universe is. So if that is what we know, why would we choose to be pessimistic about anything? We could be happy because we don't know why we exist. There's no direct, tangible reason for anything. So we're just being stupid and ridiculous by being sad. We can be happy and lift ourselves up and survive and overcome any
Well,
situation.
then this is what I would offer to that. Then I think that you can be happy as long as you think about what's going on in life
Yes.
and what it's all about. But if you're just getting up and not considering anything, then living on
Why
this
should
earth,
we?
but living on this earth is very frustrating. Like living on this lately for me has been very difficult.
I feel like
Because
that's a
people
mindset
irritate me.
thing. I think it is, because once you accept that everything which happens is your fault, you have the power then to do anything. Because like if you're late for the train, or if you're this
I
or
wouldn't
that,
say that the problems are my fault. I would say how I react to them is my responsibility.
yeah, it's up to you. So
Yeah.
be happy in your reaction, or see the positive in these things, because if you're being sad, that's just wasting your time, and we don't know how much time we have. We don't know if
I
there's
totally
going to be
agree with
another
you.
life.
The only thing that I would say, I totally agree with you, but this is what I would say, is because this was really transformative in my life, and I don't know if it's a male thing or if it's a human thing, but this rush to just be okay with everything, or that it's all okay, or just be this way, it's not that easy.
Why?
Because it's not. Because
For me, it was incredibly easy.
But this is maybe what your blessing is, though, is that maybe you have yet to be socked in your fucking face.
To be socked, I've
To
been
just be
socked
punched in your face.
I have. You
Okay.
can do it
No,
right
believe me,
now,
no,
John.
no. I'm not saying that. No. Because I'm not. I don't
No,
want.
but I
wait a
think
minute.
that would also
Wait a minute,
be
Wait a minute.
great.
I don't want to overextend this, or I don't want to
Okay,
minimize
gotcha.
it, and I don't want to go too far. I'm just saying that. Well, I wish you a lifetime of having that. Because again,
appreciate
believe me, I am you in many ways.
Yes,
I
I think
am
you're me
the
from the
optimistic
future.
person. But I'm going to tell you something. I became much more solid when I realized a truth,
Yes.
which was harsh for me to realize.
Yeah,
That
I think for
was
me
hurt.
too. Once I
was
realized
abused.
how cold the world is kind of when I started being like, okay, I'm...
There we go.
Yeah.
So, okay,
It's
so-
like you have to, in order to really be happy, you have to see the worst in life. You have to...
not even that, but you just have to be able to have at least some sort of an understanding
Yes.
that it's not all peaches and cream.
I would say that you always like to say there's a truth and a lie, John. You say there's a truth and a lie, and I like to say there's two sides to every coin, which goes right along with that. There cannot be dark without light. There cannot be light without dark.
That's right.
These things exist like polarities, yin and yang. And
well, you can't light a light bulb with a positive and a positive.
Yes, a positive and a negative. That's where my opinion comes from, that you have to see the dark to truly appreciate the light.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Like I've told you before, I think I was a shrink. When I was talking to my shrink one time, and I was telling him about this situation that was going on, and I was witnessing something that I was too young to witness. And when my shrink said to me, John, who is taking care of you? Who's looking out for you at this time? And I turned my head and I started to cry. And not out of embarrassment or anything, I just turned my head. And when I got control, I said to him, I don't have a problem with crying. I just don't know where those tears came from. I've never had tears like that before. I've never cried like that before. And it was because he, at 43 years old, was the very first person to acknowledge that I should have had someone looking out for me. I was just a kid. You know what I mean? So I get it. I have to go through it. And I get it. And I did go through it.
You did.
I did go through it.
You've
with
been through
very
a lot.
little help. But what I'm saying, though, is that for a large part of my life, even through my marriage, I was saying, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm okay. Yeah, it was tough. But I had never acknowledged that it was tough and it does affect me.
Yeah.
And how it was. So I'm not mad. I'm not even sad.
I know, you're
But
an
you
optimist.
have to acknowledge that something hurt you if it did. So, like, for example, one of my closest friends, I've known him for a long time, but he's never shared one sadness.
I think...
And he says he's never been sad because I go, I just know you're wrong.
Well, I think there's...
And that's why he can't
I have a friend just
That's
like
why
that.
he can... That's why, if you can't... That's why I said earlier, if he says he's never really been sad, well, how can then he take care of me in my sadness?
I think that's basic.
If he doesn't know how to deal with his own sadness.
And, yes...
That's why I'm so empathetic, is because I've really tried to understand what makes me who I am and why I hurt and why I care about you.
I think I completely agree with you, John, and I think there's sort of levels to it. So someone who goes through life thinking they've never been sad, clearly that's crazy. Like, we've all dealt with sadness. It's part of being a human. What I would say is, what I strive for is, okay, I was depressed for a long time. I was on antidepressants. I had a lot of shit go down, and I am past that to the point where I'm thinking my reaction is king. My reaction defines my life and my
No doubt about it.
existence. And that's where I put stake now, is being so powerful that nothing can faze me, because I'm zooming out constantly, and I'm looking at life through the lens of someone in 1,000 years who's looking back, and I realize how the small shit in life, you have a pimple on your face, your friend betrayed you, you got sued by someone, this happened, you got crashed, you got into a car crash, you totaled your vehicle. All of these things don't fucking matter in 1,000 years. No one knows about them. People aren't gonna remember you, period, if you waste your life focusing on the small things.
Joe, there's a great song out there, and if I could think of the first line, I would sing it right now, but it's called 100 Years From Today. And it just says, just give them a kiss, give them a hug, because no matter what you do, nothing's going to matter 100 years from today, except if you raise a good child.
Yes, and
raise a good
you've
child.
done that, John.
Yeah, and when you act kindness, even a minute of kindness to one individual in your, like I'll tell you this story. If I don't think I've told you this before, there was a gentleman came in the bar. I was talking, just like I'm talking to you, completely focused with you guys, and I don't want to talk to anybody else. But this other people come in the bar, and I decide that I'm going to go talk to them. So I go, can I help you? And they get a beer or whatever. So now they're still staring at me, even though I've given them everything I want. So I go back to them. I say, is there something that you need? And they said to me, we were just wondering if we could just have a couple minutes of your time. And I said, sure. What is it? He goes, well, I just want to let you know that about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to live here in Boston. And I don't know if you remember, but I was here. I'm from Ohio. And I came in on a Sunday, and you were working. And I have not been happy here in Boston. I said that But I was in, a friend of mine from Cleveland was visiting, so we came to see you. And I was having such a good time. And you were such a great bartender. You were dancing and laughing and joking and doing all that stuff. And he said I said, I'd want to be a bartender. And he said that I said, whatever bar gets you will be a very lucky bar. So he said, so I'm just here to tell you that I did quit my job. I did go back to Cleveland. I did get a job as a bartender. And it's there I met my wife, and I've never been happier in my whole life. And he said, I have to tell you, John, it's not a little bit because of you. It's a lot because of you. And so it's such a great moment.
Yeah.
But you realize that we all have those moments.
And we can't have the power to have them.
And we do. And when you take the time to be in the moment, to see the human. Like I remember I would tell my kids, sometimes I'd go, if you don't see the human next to you, you're already fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm amazed when people, look at me, I'm a big man.
That's this generation though.
I'm a big personality.
Yes, you are.
And when I see that people don't see me, I go, how oblivious do you have to be to not see the large goofy guy 2 inches behind you? You know what I mean?
John, I wanted to ask you, we've obviously talked a lot on the pod about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I really would encourage you to look at the camera now. I know most likely he's not watching, but if he is watching, what is your direct message to him at this time, given all the power he has?
I would tell everybody.
But just Elon
Just
Musk.
to Elon Musk?
Yeah, just Elon
Well,
Musk.
I don't know if I could give him anything specific. I would just say, don't bring your kid to work. I mean, leave your kid at home. Just leave your kid at home. Be an adult. Act like an adult. Represent yourself. I guess, I'm into individuality. But train yourself. Calm yourself down. And use better words. I like your mom. I think your mom's a doll. But I think you're kind of a man-child. That's what I would say.
I love that, John.
Yeah. And then I'd also say something to Jeff Bezos, too.
What would you say to
This
Jeff
is what
Bezos?
I would say to Jeff Bezos. Because, Jeff, you can call me back and say that I'm wrong, and I'd be willing to do this. But Jeff Bezos, a little while ago, gave Dolly Parton $500 million as a prize to be given to her for maybe it was $200 million, but it was a lot of money. It's given to her, and it's a new award that he wants to give to people for philanthropy. So when I give credit to Dolly says, I'm very grateful for it. It will be seed money for other good projects.
Yeah.
But what I want to see is Jeff Bezos do the stuff and not give the money to people who do stuff.
Yeah.
You do something, Jeff. You do something, Elon. Do something. You know what I would love to see, just so we could see in America what's going on in America? I think whatever the top 1% is should take care of the lowest 1% in America. So we could identify where our bookends are. And if you don't want to do it, I just want to know who, what, how much, and where this 1% is. And we need to find out the 1% in the lower. Because if you, at the high 1%, don't give a fuck about the lower 1%, fuck you.
John,
I hate to be so bold, but I just definitely feel that way.
I think that's a powerful message. And you've talked about Jay Leno, obviously. You have, John. You've talked about Jay Leno. Obviously, you have a bit of a beef with him.
I do.
It's generated a little controversy.
Yeah.
What's your message? I think Jay Leno did see the last clip, so he's probably looking at this.
Well, Jay, I'm just going to tell you this. You're successful at what you do. People love you for what you do. I'm sure you're a wonderful man. However, being a man who is somewhat sensitive, being a man who has had his feelings hurt, the only thing I obsess about in life is if I have hurt the feelings of someone that I love. I will do your dishes, I will mow your lawn, I'll shovel your driveway until I finally forgive myself for hurting someone's feelings that I love. And Jay Leno's jokes are always on his guests.
Yeah.
And they're always on his friends.
Yeah.
Watch them. David Letterman, Conan O'Brien, Stephen Colbert, they are the victims of their own jokes. They make their
think
guests
Stephen
feel
Colbert-
welcome. Can I ask you this? I don't mean to interrupt you because I think it's valid what
Yeah.
you're saying. Is that because what I would almost give to Stephen Colbert is that I I do think his humor is at the expense of other people, mostly
Yes.
politicians and other things. But I don't think when the guest comes on and sits
I've
in
never
his chair,
seen a guest on.
I don't think a guest on his chair that he makes a joke at the guest.
Oh, I saw Elon go on. Elon Musk.
So I'm sure I'm wrong.
Well, no. I mean, I think you're right because
Like when you're in the
haven't-
house, treat your guests with respect.
Yes, I haven't seen a lot, but so Elon Musk went on Stephen Colbert's show. I think it was 2010, sometime around there, maybe 2014, around that time. Elon Musk is sitting there. They're having a great conversation, very friendly and everything like that. Colbert is kissing up to Elon. He's like, I have a Tesla myself. It's a fantastic car, whatever. And he's being so nice because Elon was very respected at that point. But currently, Colbert hates Elon Musk and rips into him constantly. I'm not saying I agree with everything Musk does/says. I just think Stephen Colbert, it seems very fake that you would have had Musk on your show back then, and now it's different. So I don't fully vibe with that, but feel free to write to me. I'm genuinely interested in your story.
Can I ask you a question? So say you were having a conversation with Aidan about something maybe I had said or something that I had done.
Yeah.
And that you didn't agree with.
Yes.
And you could have that conversation.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
But now if you were going to come in and have a conversation with me.
Yes.
You could still say what you feel, but you would want to do it more respectfully, would you?
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't back down from what you want to say.
Yeah.
But you would at least try and treat them with respect.
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
as long as we're doing that's
respect
good.
is
Because
king.
I would say that I don't know if I've seen him disrespectful. Because one thing I do say about Stephen Colbert, and again, I mentioned I think you're onto something there because I think you're right. But I think that he has vocabulary.
He does.
That the
He's
other
a very
hosts
eloquent,
don't have.
charming
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Very charismatic. Which I love about you, Stephen. I'm not saying I hate you as a person, but regardless.
I don't really like any talk. You
Yeah,
know who
talk
the best
shows
talk
is-
show host is? Who?
This is a
Oh,
talk show.
I know what you're gonna say. David Letterman.
No,
No,
Graham Norton.
Graham Norton. Okay.
He is in London.
London.
He's the London host late night. And what's awesome about him, and I think that they should do it more here, is all of the guests come out at the same time.
Okay.
So they all talk. So you just don't talk about one person. Like if I talk to you, and then I talk to you,
Yeah.
and I talk to you, it's a lot more fun if we all come together and talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what he does. And then I'll be honest with you, I think there's something about gay humor
Okay.
that makes
Yeah,
me laugh.
have you heard of Matteo Lane? He's like this hilarious gay comedian. I love his content.
Yeah.
But
They're
go
just a gay man. They'll just it's testosterone driven bitchiness. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That is
that's
just
smart. Yeah.
It's just it can make me just drop on the floor because they can just sometimes just say things and he'll just say something sometimes that just makes me laugh so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Just like I love to laugh. I don't laugh a lot, but
Yeah.
I love to laugh when I do.
Yeah, I think gay comedy is definitely an underappreciated thing, which is making it's on the rise now more and more. But just since the beginning of, back to the Stonewall days of the gay movement, comedy was always something they embraced, through drag shows or whatever it was. So
Okay.
I think there's a strong history there, and gay comedy definitely very funny. I wanted to ask Aidan, I asked just a few moments ago John to talk to the camera and express his message to Elon Musk. I understand you definitely have an opinion on Musk, so would you talk to him if he's watching right now? What's your message to Elon Musk?
I don't have anything to say to him, bro. I could, but
Yes, just do it.
Why?
I say when vocabulary
we respect-
meets timing meets
yeah.
opportunity,
Elon Musk. I used to fuck with you. I used to think you were pretty cool, but you're doing some wild shit now, bro, and you're switching up the flow. You're doing some naughty things,
Yes, and
But I would say about the Stephen Colbert thing, you can you're being amicable with me now, but if I went and said some racist stuff and
Yeah.
totally destroyed my self-image, then you'd probably say stuff that your opinion would be changed about me. So I don't think you can come at Stephen.
I mean,
I don't even know what he looks like, honestly. Or who he is.
you don't know who
I'm just-
Stephen Colbert
I'm
is?
gonna look up. I've heard of him. I know he
He's a
has,
talented fellow.
he has an ice cream name. Though.
Yeah, no, but what I
Yeah.
would say my main point about Colbert is exactly your point about Leno. I respect a comedian so much more when they self-deprecate
It's
at
so
least a
much
little
better.
bit.
Well, I look at it like really more with manners.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's ever appropriate to make your guest
Yeah.
be the joke.
Yes.
No.
I just
Yeah.
like with manners, like I said, I believe in walking down the stairs in front of the woman, up the stairs behind the woman.
Okay.
Right.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because if you walk down in front of the woman, if she falls, she will fall on you.
Okay.
If you walk up behind her, then she will fall on you.
I think
Yes.
it's awkward to walk behind a woman.
No,
Because you're looking at her ass.
I just.
okay, but now
Yeah.
you're walking up the stairs and she's just falling down the stairs. Do you feel like more like
But
an
how
ass?
often are women falling down
Well,
the
I'm
stairs?
just saying it's a gentleman thing. How about when you're walking down the street, right? You on the outside.
Well, here's the thing.
The girl's on the inside.
I've been hearing this debate, but like sometimes they say like the gentlemanly thing to do is walk on like the curb closer to the cars, but like then there's like some homeless hagglers on the street, so like sometimes
Yeah.
I'm not
What
sure-
is it? Yeah, no, you're right about that.
I don't know. So like the other
Okay.
day I was walking like on the like inside of the street.
Would you ever open up a door and leave a premises before the girl that you're with? Would you just open up the door and just walk out and have her follow you?
No.
Wait.
No.
You
You
mean,
would
like, when I
wait.
make
Wait
sure-
Like
till
when
she
you leave
leaves.
this door, like right now, and your girlfriend was coming, would you open the door or at least leave it open for her or hold it open?
Yes.
Good.
I would
that
go.
never dies.
I
you know
would
what
go
I mean?
behind
No, that's
her.
dead. No, I make that a point.
I
so
think
much.
that everybody should. I think women should do it as well. When you're paying attention to things, when you're with someone that you love, you should. Believe me, life is one thing that I absolutely love to do, and it's the saddest thing that I can witness. I believe in the details, so I love to help people on with their coats.
Yeah.
So if it's a winter time, you're getting your coat, I'll grab your coat and I'll help you on with it.
Ooh.
But then what happens is when you do that, I'll try and say low, is that they'll go like this, and I'll go, "You poor thing. No one has ever helped you on with your coat before, because all you gotta do is go like this. I will take care of it all. You go like this, I'll put your coat on for you. But you go like this, it's like you poor thing.
Yeah.
No one has ever
no.
helped you put a coat on before.
So.
I was like, alright, the pull doors are obviously easy to like let girls do and stuff, but the push doors, and it's such a big pet peeve of mine when I open the push door, and then they just like gently touch it. It's like, I'm just like, just let me hold it.
Yeah. I think, again, because this is another thing I'd like to say, is that you have to pay attention, because like a lot of times, maybe you guys seen this, you're opening up a door for somebody, and then they don't acknowledge that you did a nice thing. So as they're walking away, you go,
matter.
"You're welcome," right?
No.
They'll do like that, right? And
No.
I'll go, "Well, you just was a chivalrous man who very quickly became a controlling asshole."
Yeah.
Because I opened up the door
Yeah.
to get your response, and you didn't give me the response I wanted.
Yeah.
Just open the
I
door
love
and
that.
shut up.
So just now I agree with you, and just now we were talking about being on the staircase. Do you walk
Right.
behind the girl or in front of her?
And-
Okay, have you guys ever been in a staircase? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's had this, where it's like just you and one woman in the stairwell, and they're in front of you,
Right.
and you don't want to like walk up right behind them because they'll think you're like looking at their ass.
No, I personally make it a point to like talk and like make sure like I'm looking.
Or
What do you mean?
Like if I'm like yo, like if they're like right here, I'm like yo, like yo.
Wait, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, you make contact.
there is another
What if you
option.
don't know them?
Oh, I don't know.
Like it's just you and a girl alone in a stairwell.
No,
You're
I
behind her, and do you want to walk at her same pace right behind her? It's so weird.
No.
you don't.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, you
no,
don't.
no. I would just
Yeah.
wait a sec.
Yeah.
I need to go to the bathroom so
Well,
bad.
I'll tell you, there's a couple of things that you can do.
What?
But
What?
because, like I
I
said,
need to respond to this.
no, well, first of all, like I said, when I am too close to a young woman that's ahead of me, I'll just stop.
Make sure your phone
And I
camera
will let her go.
screen doesn't go on the camera.
So you don't feel like you're intimidating them.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, if you're walking behind a woman and you're doing anything, thinking anything inappropriate, stop it. Stop it. That's what's going to separate you from being a boy or a man. It's like an opportunity presents itself. Now you
What
could go there,
about-
and now you're just staring up their ass because no one's going to do it, and you keep walking, and you're just staring at their
Yeah,
ass.
doing something like
Look
that.
away.
Yeah,
Show respect.
it's
because
really weird
it's just
when guys do that
weird.
weird, creepy stuff where
It's
they're like watching a girl. What about actually approaching a woman you are interested in and trying to spark a healthy dialogue?
I think we should I realize that we're probably instantly like get
Yeah.
that spark, but we don't
use.
use that spark to get the conversation going. So get the spark.
Because this
but you
is
wanna get to
something
know
Aiden
them.
talked about too. Is like sometimes
I am not the man to get advice from on that level, but I would just say that I've talked to many women and I say,
Yeah.
how long can you stay in a bar without some guy thinking that they're better off with you with them?
Oh yeah.
And it's too often.
Oh, and John,
And
you
then they
mentioned
don't say anything.
you mentioned you had to leave at 6.
I do, but
Okay.
close, but I just,
It's 5:53 right
Yeah,
now,
we'll
so
go.
maybe we go 5 more minutes.
You got it. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. 'Cause
of
I
course.
lose my timing.
Yes.
But again, it just, like that's what I go back with the thing with. It's like the good news is that you don't have to worry about half as much if you just carry yourself well.
yeah.
Make a good choice at the moment every time you're in the moment. Because again, I've said to you before on this podcast, a man is only as good as the opportunity that presents itself.
Yes.
You don't think about doing bad things.
Maybe. I actually might disagree.
Well, but again, like I'm saying, I never think about stealing $2,000.
Yeah.
Until it's right there.
Would you? Would you take it?
You don't know. That's the thing.
Okay, what if you walk into a bathroom, a public restroom,
Yeah.
you go into the stall, there's 2 grand sitting on the toilet seat. Do you take it?
Well, it's so easy to debate in philosophy.
Well, my
like,
point is that
You wouldn't know,
opportunity is
yeah.
going to make
Yeah.
me question what I'm doing.
Yeah, I got you.
So I never thought about it, but now that the opportunity is presenting
Yeah.
itself, I think, ooh,
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah.
So, but when you don't, that's what makes you the man.
Okay.
Is because
that
you can
control,
show
that discipline
You're not a slave
to your to your
to
impulses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like again, and forgive me for my language or whatever, but I say that all those guys that are like that, they're rotten lays anyhow. Because if they were better lays, they wouldn't have to
It's
do
a learning
that.
curve. I don't think they are definitively, but in this moment they are being lazy and rotten.
Just bad lays. I'm saying bad lays.
What's that?
Meaning, like, if you're a good lay, you don't have
bad
to do all
lays.
these things because they're actually calling you because they want to do you again.
Okay, that's something you talked about before.
Was it
You
that
said
one?
you have like a bad lay, like a bad sex, or
Oh,
you said
like
you.
if you're a good, like I say, if you have one trick that you do better than everybody, they're going to be calling and scheduling appointments with you.
Yeah. Okay, give your top sexual tricks for guys who want to get called back.
Wait, how about this? Top sexual tricks that don't involve like actual like sticking it in.
No, I would say top sexual tricks is stop it right. You're already going wrong.
Why?
Just be
I
you.
think you need
Just
to
be
spice
you.
it up a little
Don't
bit.
think about it.
No.
No,
believe
you
me.
want to give her pleasure.
But when you talk about sex, when you
Like
guys
most
are
guys don't.
if I went up and started talking sex with anybody, I'm looking like an immature fucking freak.
Yeah, but we're talking
how
about
would-
sex.
No, believe me, I'm telling you something. I'm the same way. I'm that guy that thinks about it every 6 seconds.
Yeah,
I just do.
I love that.
I'm a Scorpio. I find everything sexy. I find spaghetti sexy. I find a donut sexy.
Oh my god.
I find I just mean it in terms of if it's a good donut,
It's like,
I love it.
No, because like,
Yeah.
I be eating my food and moaning, not trying to be sexual.
Yeah,
but,
no,
like, people are like, bro,
believe
what?
me. Like I've often said many times is that when I'm looking at you, my eyes are so happy because the only thing they have to do is look and see.
I remember the first time
And
you
what
laid
they're
eyes
looking
on
at
me.
and seeing right now are very happy.
The first time you laid eyes on me, the first 3 words out of your mouth, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and I do it. It does feel nice too.
But again, from when I saw you,
Yeah.
I saw an eager, young, supportive man.
No, I think he's lazy as fuck.
No, you could see, like I'll tell you, you could see, as you could see he was
Yeah.
not solid into just excited
It's
in
because
his
of I was channeling
emotions. You know
Bobby.
what I mean? And you could see it all over your face, and it's a beautiful thing.
I love that, John. Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
you mentioned that
enjoyed this.
you keep a roster in your phone. You said you have at least 5 people you can hit up whenever you
Yes.
want and guaranteed sex.
Yes.
What would you recommend for other guys out there who don't have that want something like that?
Put a trick up your sleeve.
What kind of trick?
Oh, like just know some. Like I'll tell you.
She
this.
just was up. I'm
Okay,
going
all right,
on a date tonight.
okay. Well, I will
please.
tell
Yeah,
you this.
yeah.
I will tell you this.
Third date tonight.
I'll tell you this.
Oh,
as an
you gotta
older
seal the deal
gentleman,
this time.
I would never hit on a younger person.
Yeah.
But if a younger person hits on me, I think they're very wise. Because mostly when you get older,
Yeah.
you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a trick though.
Well, it is a trick
What
when
can
you
Aidan do
dating-
tonight
what can I
at
do
his
tonight?
date?
bring a map and a headlamp. I think. You know, I think, I don't know. Just no. But Aidan, believe me, you don't. I would just say this. You don't need any tricks.
You just said you need tricks though.
Well, see, I don't know if I know the tricks that I'm looking for in the people that I'm looking for. I'll tell you what my trick is. No, I will tell you what my trick is. My trick is a safe space, truthfully. So when you come into my home, when you come into my house, it is a safe place. You're not going to get hurt there. You want to share? No, I mean you want to share what you feel. You want to share what turns you on, because everybody gives shame to themselves. They give shame to themselves for the things that their particular perversion. Yes. But everybody's got a little something. I hope you have a little something.
I do.
Because if you don't,
no.
Who cares?
I think that's honestly why older guys do so well, like getting younger women. It's because they know how to talk. Like the way you talk, you never miss a beat. You always have like something smooth and cool to say, like in any moment. So they're young and they're like all the guys I know are like just like stumbling over their words and like whatever it is, and they're like, wow, John makes me feel like a valued young lady. I wanted to ask you,
good.
You said you would never hit on a younger person, but you'd be open if they hit on you.
Yeah.
What's the youngest that you would go sexually?
18.
Nice.
Yeah. But it would have to be, no, because again, I think that as a person on any level, I can be a positive experience.
Yeah.
Or I can be a negative experience. And if I'm going with someone who's 18, I'm not going to make that about me. You know what I mean? You make it about us. And you show things. Like again, I hung with somebody who was very, very young. And I felt so bad for the girl because I knew that she did not get off. I just knew it. You know what I mean? It's like, good for you, dude. But she's still in there.
Was it like a threesome?
No, it was just, I was hanging with somebody and they had to go, I was just crashing at their place.
Like how?
And a girl called up and said, I want to come over. And literally, I just know it. And I said, well, if I'm crossing town to go over to someone's house, I better get off.
So what about that with her made her knock it off, do you think?
Because it was getting a glass of water. Just getting a glass of water. It was literally about 90 seconds.
And were you focused on her orgasm at all, or just,
you
just wanted to
wait,
know?
John, you know how you
No, I'm just saying is that when they close the door and then you hear,
wait, real quick.
Oh, it wasn't you.
And he's out to drink.
I thought it was.
Wait, I gotta ask you a question. Yeah. You know how you said if you cross town, you better be getting a orgasm? But I'm personally trying to take slow in my relationship right now.
Right.
But this girl is gonna come over. I'm not trying to
She's coming over tonight?
Yes.
Okay, you have to seal that.
What do you mean?
No.
I'm not trying to smash, bro.
Whoa,
no, but again,
why?
But this is where I think that women are different.
I want to wait a few months.
I'd like to get to different pipe. No, I'm on your side. You know why I'm on your side?
I respect it.
I'll be honest with you. Ask yourself the question this, because I'm fascinated by this. When you look at every great romantic movie, when you look at every great love story you've ever had or ever witnessed, any great movie, it always comes down to the kiss, right?
I already got the kiss.
So what happens though is you didn't even wait for the kiss long enough.
Who?
Anybody?
Me?
Everybody.
I don't get kissing. I don't get the draw.
Yeah.
I mean, I love kissing, but
do you know why I think
prefer
so?
sex.
No, but that's the problem though.
Why?
Is because when you go straight to sex, the kiss doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But if you started with the kiss, then that would have mattered.
I guess, but you would kiss your friends, right?
I would tell you, I had a kiss with somebody that I knew I could never have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And that kiss was electric.
Really?
Because I knew
it was forbidden.
That it was never going to be more. No, it's not even forbidden. It was going to be all I could have. Mm-hmm. But it was something that I wanted. I didn't want more.
Were they unavailable?
Both of us were unavailable.
Okay, you were
both of us were unavailable.
Yeah.
And it was so quick and easy, but it was such a. So I'm just saying that, when I think of my parents, my father, because my mom did not give it up so fast or did not do these things. When my father waited and kind and was nice, that first kiss was electric.
I'm sure.
And then holding hands is different.
Yeah.
But when you've just done it all,
but
on the
why
first
wait?
date,
we're animals.
Why wait?
Why wait?
Why wait? Why not wait?
Because, like I said last time, humans want to put themselves above animals, but that also goes for our relationships.
No, I get that it could be frustrating. I get that it can be frustrating. I get it.
But I want.
But it's not frustrating. It's great, right? It's an amazing part of life.
Well, you don't know for sure until you try something different.
I feel like that would be edging yourself, but with romance.
All right, well, let me put it this way. Okay, all right, so the sex, so it's all right, great. I just went hard.
Yeah.
but I didn't even get a sweet kiss.
But John, I know that.
No, I just want that affection, John. You know what I mean?
John, I know.
I just want to be loved,
I
bro.
know.
That's why I know if I go straight to the smashing, then
Right, I'm with you.
But John, I know you're saying this, but I also know like that you are consistently having sex.
But
Yeah,
he just
but
said
that's
he wants
sex,
to be
though.
loved, bro.
But it's not
He said
making
he hasn't
love.
made
Okay,
love
so-
in so long, bro.
So would you consider like any of the people in your roster? Would you want like something real with them?
No, and that's
So-
why it works.
Okay, that's very
That's
interesting.
why it works.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like after you have sex with them, it's like a little fake, like?
No.
Why?
No, because it's
You're
both.
saying, okay,
It's just both mutual. It's like we both just want sex. That's it. We've done it enough to know that we like each other. We get off on each other, and we know what each other likes.
Have you
But
ever-
We both know that it's not a relationship.
Did you ever have someone from your roster like develop feelings for you, and you
course.
didn't want to start something?
I have, but I've been very, very honest.
Yeah.
Very,
And
very
did they have a bad reaction or cut you off ever?
Yeah, a few of them have, but that's okay.
Nice.
Because I don't want to lead anybody on.
Yeah.
And again, and I also put it harshly, because I want to, but it's a harsh truth when I just say, look, I'm just telling you that right now in my life, all the decisions I make are going to be decided by me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to consider your opinion.
I love that.
You don't have an opinion in my life right now.
I think
so
that's
I can
important.
be with you.
Yeah.
But right now, it's important to me for this. So you don't want a person like that
Yeah.
in your life if you got your own life. You can't be following me.
And did you? Okay.
Real quick, it is
No,
just
we're
a
all
vibe.
good. Yeah, just-
Yeah. And would
everybody expects me to relate in.
has a guy ever developed feelings for you, and you didn't want to pursue that because you were concerned about if you want to be with a man or woman, you weren't sure?
I will tell you, I did once.
Yeah.
And it was, truthfully, if I'm going to be real honest,
Yeah.
it was my attempt at like sleeping my way to the top.
Oh, okay. I love that.
So I wanted to see if I could I found out that somebody was
Yeah.
attracted to me.
Okay.
And I found out what they did.
What'd they do?
They were actors in Hollywood.
Nice.
And I just thought that, so
Yeah.
then what happened was that they fell for me. And it was like, wow. But then I will tell you this, though, is I did learn this about me, is that there's a big difference between sex and love.
Yeah.
Because I can perform sex very easily and become aroused. But when it's done intimately and through loving, it's got to be a whole different approach.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot
You
of
know?
sense.
I'm a different character when I'm just having sex than I am and I could not return that.
John,
No,
thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody,
John.
for tuning in.
John.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Aiden, truthfully. Oh,
This has been a wonderful 19th
Oh,
episode of the I Think
welcome.
podcast. I appreciate everyone around the world for tuning in.
longer.
It's amazing.
Oh.
Thank you, world. I love you.
So nice meeting you. So nice meeting you.
Ciao, guys.
did well.
We'll see you very,
No,
very
Yeah, we're
soon.
good. The number 3 is so much better than the number 2, right? I mean, it's so much better as a conversation, I find.
Yes, we had a wonderful
We'll get Avery next
threesome
time.
of a podcast, and we will see you guys very shortly.
You
Bye.
know,